All right, quick video on John Cena's final match at Saturday night's main event. I didn't know if I was going to do this or not. I didn't know if I was going to be a weeping puddle at the end of the event. Clearly, I'm not. And it's because of the way the match ended. I wrote a blog right before this match where I said, I know it's the old school thing to go out looking up at the lights, putting over the guy that's going to be there next week. I know that's how wrestling traditionally has run. I believed this was a special case, a once in a lifetime case where that crowd, wanted to see Cena win one more time. They wanted to see Super Cena, and they wanted to have confetti rain down and have a happy ending to end the night. They wanted to see it be the WWE version of Derek Jeter hitting a walk-off in his final at bat at Yankee Stadium, or the WWE version of like The Dark Knight Rises, when Bruce Wayne, Batman, gets the happy ending that he never gets otherwise. It's a special case. Again, a once in a lifetime case. Sting in AEW, I thought the win in his final match there worked so well. It almost like laid the blueprint of like, here's what you should do for Cena. I'm not saying they should have done a tag match where someone went through glass and all that, but it was a happy ending. It was what the fans wanted to see. I guess time will tell on what this does for Gunther and what this does for his career, on whether or not this was the right call. You could say it wasn't the right call for the building that night, but it was the right call for the business. It was the right call for Gunther. I understand that argument. I've been watching wrestling for 20 something years. I understand it. I get that's the traditional way to go out. I wouldn't even be shocked if John Cena demanded to go out on a loss. I would have overruled them. I would have Montreal screw jobbed John Cena in his final match and made sure he won. It's what the fans wanted to see. You saw it in that, the arm going down 3 times and then he hits him with the hustle, loyalty, respect hand. The crowd went insane. They wanted to explode in the same way that Toronto exploded when Hulk Hogan powered up at WrestleMania 18 against The Rock. I think if he just powers up there, hits the attitude adjustment 1, 2, 3, we look back at this as like, that was one of the greatest retirements in pro wrestling history. That was an all-time moment. I think now we're going to look back at it a little strangely. We're going to look back at it like we look back at the entire farewell tour, kind of as a what if, not a remember when. It could have been better if they did this, or a but. Everything has a but. And that's a shame. It is a shame when you look back at the WWE Unreal clip as well of Triple H being like, we better not fuck this up. And John Cena's like, we're writing page 500 in a 500-page book. The previous 499 pages, it'd be pretty hard to fuck that up. They kind of fucked it up. It had its moments. The entire John Cena farewell tour had its moments. The Royal Rumble and Elimination Chamber were great. The heel turn itself, all time. A lot of what followed, not so great. I felt like the first heel promo when he went after the kid in Brussels, and that might not have been the first one, but the first one and the one where he went after the kid at Brussels. That stuff was fun. There were some good back and forths with Cody. The WrestleMania match obviously was a little underwhelming. The Travis Scott thing sucked, that ending. And then he got left high and dry by The Rock, who, by the way, I saw put out a video today with all his thank yous. Thank you to Cena for this. Thank you to Cena for that. How about an apology for leaving him high and dry, brother? The farewell tour, another what if attached to it is, what if we saw what The Rock wanted to do with Cena's soul? Like, you kind of fucked Cena over there a little bit, Dwayne. And I don't know if it was for movies, for Moana, for the Smashing Machine. I don't know what it was over. If it was over drama with TKO, but there's a lot of what ifs associated with the entire farewell retirement tour. And this is definitely going to be one of them. Again, it had its highlights in the back half of it after the face turn, which was horrible, by the way. That was my least favorite part of the entire farewell tour, when he came out on SmackDown and said, I'm a face now. And we were just meant to accept that. That was a little insulting. They should have just done the face turn during the SummerSlam match. But that SummerSlam match, incredible. The little mini rivalry he had with Dominic in 3 out of his last 4 matches were, including Dom, incredible. There was a lot of good things to take away from this. I don't just want to be the negative wrestling fan that's negative. Triple H fucks everything. It's tough. It's tough to be a wrestling booker. You see it so often throughout the history of wrestling, where someone has a really hot 2.5, 3-year stretch, and then they fizzle out. They burn out a little bit and they hit a wall. I think Triple H hit that wall at some point this year. I don't think everything's been horrible. I think there's been highlights and even the bad shows. But he's got to definitely dig himself out of this hole. It was a bittersweet moment in the end where John Cena gets his moment, and it's not completely ruined because the fans are chanting "Thank you, Cena," but then you hear some thunderous boos, and I knew immediately, okay, here comes the roster led by Triple H and Stephanie. Triple H is getting "you fucked up" chants, boos when he embraces Cena, major boos, and I felt bad, but there was part of me that was like, I'm glad that they're booing right now. I know that it's supposed to be this awesome fairy tale storybook ending for Cena, and I thought I would be crying. Like if you won 1, 2, 3, I think I'm weeping. I think I'm a puddle on the ground. Like my childhood is finally over. But I was like, it's good that Triple H has to deal with this awkward feedback right now and feel hopefully like, man, did I ruin Cena's moment? And I don't think he ruined it completely, but I think in what could have been a 100 out of 100, it wound up being a 65, 70 out of 100. And it just could have had a much different tone with fans leaving that building with a better taste in their mouths of, oh my God, that was the greatest match we've ever seen in our lives. We'll tell our kids about that. Instead, they might tell our kids like, yeah, it was the most disappointing event I ever went to in terms of spending $1,000 on tickets to get in the building. And then we watched them tap out. We watched Never Give Up, give up. And that's tough. They were chanting, don't give up. Don't give up. I don't know if I've ever heard that chant before. Maybe from like little kids at an indie show, and it's just real wholesome. And it's like, they've probably never been to a wrestling show in their lives. They don't know that's not a chant. They're chanting, don't give up at this guy. If I was the ref, I would have called an audible. I would have taken the earpiece out, said, fuck Hunter in the back. Hey, Cena, they said, you're winning now. I would have done the Montreal Screwjob myself. I would have taken matters into my own hands, like Endgame style. I wish I could go back in time and do that. It's tough. Real quick, rest of the show. I thought everything was good, but everything did have a butt attached to it tonight. So like Cody and Oba, fucking awesome. And the amount of decibels created in that arena by Cody's whoa, it was amazing. Amazing. Like I thought they were going to like basically blow their load before Cena even got out to the arena. They just wanted a finish to that match. I think a lot of people wanted to see Oba go over. I didn't know if I was fully with that. I am a little old school in my thinking, I guess, of the champs shouldn't be losing to people that aren't on the main roster, even if they're facing people that are champs in NXT. So you get the fuck finish. That's the little butt that it had attached to it. But, you know, Mind Games had a fuck finish. Shawn Michaels Mankind had a fuck finish. It's okay. Bayley Soul, awesome finish. It did what it needed to in being a showcase for Sol Ruca, being the biggest stage that she's ever been on. And Bayley did a great job really helping showcase her acrobatics, her moves. The butt attached to that one it was a little sloppy. They had a tough botch right in the middle of the match, and it took them a little bit to get back. They did get the crowd back. The finish was cool, so they got him back with that. AJ Styles, Dragon Lee versus Javon Evans, Leon Slater. Tough little botch at the end where AJ slipped off the ropes, looked nasty, looked like the sort of thing where he could have fallen onto his shoulder and torn something. Hopefully he's all good because we got his retirement tour on deck. But this was great. It was what it needed to be. A quick little flippy WCW cruiserweight style match, creativity, athleticism, pace. It was all off the charts. And it served its purpose in being like a little buffer before the Cena main event. Although they did have a buffer after that, I guess. The Miz coming out, you get a little Ron Cena, and then you get Joe Hendry. I did think them doing the 5-knuckle shuffle, I was like, this is like the opening band doing one of the headlining band's hits before they come out. But I thought that was fun too. Joe Hendry also being on the apron by the time they said his name and did the zoom in, that popped me. So the show in general, I thought was good. I thought everyone on the undercard did their job well in terms of setting the table and making sure Cena could knock that out of the park. They put the ball in the tee for him, and he did everything in his power, I think, unless he was the one holding Triple H hostage in gorilla position saying, I better lose this match. But again, it was not the night for that. I don't think it was the night for traditionalism. I think it was the night where you go outside the box and you don't do things by the book. But it is what it is. We're going to have to get over it. John Cena just said, in 3 weeks, they've got the Royal Rumble. They're going to forget about me. I'm going to be gone. And as sad as it is, as morbid as it is, that's true. I'm never going to forget John Cena. My childhood is tied to John Cena. He was my guy for like 10 years. And that's part of why I think, I I could talk for another hour about this. I'm not going to. Don't worry. But that's part of the reason why I'm a little upset over the way it went. And I hesitate to even say upset because I'm grateful we got the career that we got out of John Cena. You know, you got 11 years at the top. It's much longer than Stone Cold, Hogan, The Rock, any of them got at the top. And the memories I have tied to this guy are endless. But you would have liked to see him ride off into the sunset a little better. You know, it's the same thing as, Endgame. They really landed that plane well. Rise of Skywalker, you look back at, and years later, I was even pretty high on it when it came out. But years later, you look back and you go, I wish they did that a little bit better. I wish that they gave a little more justice to what that was. But again, John Cena's not. I mean, he's not dead. Michael Cole did say before the broadcast, this is the final match of his life. And while that's true, it just sounded like, what are you going to execute him afterwards? It's like, he's going to be around. We're going to be watching Peacemaker. He's going to be in entertainment for a long time. So as sad as everyone is, you're only losing John Cena in the ring, and you're going to have his catalog of matches till the end of time to go back and watch. I'm sure in 20 years, we're going to be at the fucking Las Vegas Sphere watching a hologram of John Cena against a hologram of the next generation's guy, whoever that might be, Cena versus Andre the Giant. I do believe him. I think he's done. I don't think he's going to go back on his word. I know he's been telling people privately backstage in WWE, like, hey, man, I'm out. Like, I swear to everything holy, I'm not going to come back. I don't even think the Saudi money can convince him to come back, because Saudi money hasn't convinced The Rock to come back, and he's not The Rock yet, but he's pretty successful in Hollywood, and I think he's only going to be more successful. And again, Cena had 11 years at the top in WWE and 22, 23 years in general. It's a lot longer than The Rock or Austin or Hogan or any of these guys that wound up retiring and coming back. He was at the top a lot longer than a lot of them. I know, like, Flair also had a longer run, but he's a special case. I think Flair had demons and he wanted to get back to wrestling, and he didn't have a career outside of wrestling like Cena did. So I do believe that he's done. The no speech in the ring was interesting. We had everyone outside the ring, and that was my favorite part of the night, was when he greeted everyone ringside right before the match, friends and foes. Kevin Owens got a huge pop. Elias snuck his way into that crew. I didn't know they were close. Michelle McCool, Mark Henry, Rob Van Dam, Eve Torres. There was a good amount of former friends and foes, and then everyone surrounded the ring. And I was almost like, is he going to give a speech? Is it going to be a little thing? Is someone going to say something? They just pointed to the video package. Nice video package. But again, the emotions were such a roller coaster at that point with the boos and everything. I just didn't get emotional, which was not really my usual style. If you know me, Endgame made me weep like a baby and whatnot. But I think he's saving the speech for the Hall of Fame. He's rumored to be the Hall of Fame headliner this year. I wouldn't be shocked if that's good. I can't even talk tonight. I wouldn't be shocked if that gets pushed to next year, considering next year is Saudi. And I'm thinking, like, are they not going to dish out $250 billion and be like, hey, we want your speech to be in Saudi Arabia? But right now he's rumored to be in this year's class, which would be interesting. It'd be a stack class with him, Stephanie McMahon in the same class. I think she's the only one currently announced, but she could be a headliner herself. So we'll see about that. He's saving the speech. Hopefully the speech is it's not going to be. I know it's not going to be. I was going to say, hopefully it's a little more Joe Rogan John Cena than it is Bill Simmons John Cena. If you watched his 2 interviews with the 2 of them last week, he just turned off Robot Cena for Rogan. He was normal John Cena, and it was kind of nice. It was refreshing. I was like, oh, there's still a real guy in there. I didn't know there still was. Bill Simmons got corporate Cena for sure. I think we'll probably get maybe not complete corporate Cena because he's pretty comfortable in front of the WWE universe, but Hall of Fame Cena, I'd give him an hour, let him fucking tell stories like The Undertaker did. Put all the costumes behind him like they did for Taker too. He's worthy of it. I don't know who will induct him. Obviously, it would have been Vince before all the, the poop stuff. Triple H, Randy Orton. Triple H will induct Steph this year, obviously, so it couldn't be him this year. CM Punk, I could see any of them doing it. I could see Cody doing it as like the next generation guy. Kurt Angle, I've seen his name brought up. He was there tonight. That was nice to see him. Trish was there as well. But yeah, who knows? Listen, I've already talked long enough. We're going on 15 minutes here. That was a quick Saturday night's main event recap. I wanted to do something little. I know I'll get Jared back in the basement soon for From the Top Rope. Hopefully I didn't really spoil it for him tonight. I texted him after the Cena tap. I said, fuck. And he said, I'm Haven't watched it. I recorded it. Like, I'm going to be home soon. It's like, oh shit. I was like, yes, it's just getting to me. I'm emotional, you know, man. I tried to save it. So nobody tell Jared when this comes out what happened. We'll get him back in the basement soon. Thanks to everyone for watching this, and I'll talk to you soon. John Cena, thank you.